Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the AEW Road Rager Show 477, 2021. First time back in front of fans since the pandemic on an actual non-localized deal. We open with the South Beach strap match. Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson defeating QT Marshall with Aaron Solo and Nick Kanemaru. There is a blackout in the middle. Not a bad way to start the show. I love Cody. I wish that this feud was over, but things we see later in the show might lead in that direction. Generally, anyway. Four corners touch the corners strap match. Marshall does not get an entrance. Marshall tries to stall before the match. Cody attacks with a tope. Bell rings once they've strapped up together. Cody hits a drop down right hand and choking his former friend with the strap. Marshall tosses Cody onto the ramp. Cody gets to the ropes. Cody then uses the ropes to assist. A power slam and a couple of UFC fighters were shown at ringside. Cody whipped Marshall repeatedly with the straps. He exchanges words with Solo. No disqualification. Dustin Rhodes runs out and gets rid of Solo. And Marshall uses the strap to hit Cody low, then whipped and choked him with it. Both men do the 3 turnbuckle touch, and then scramble for the 4th German suplex from Marshall to cause the reset. Marshall then goes to keep the beatdown going on the floor. Cody pulls Marshall into the ring, posts Marshall, and busted him open. Cody touches 3 buckles, but lights go out in the arena. Marshall uses a distraction, beating Cody down to the count. They fight the top rope where Cody chokes Marshall out and then sends him top rope Frankensteiner, which is countered into a power bomb. Cody stops Marshall from touching all 4 corners. Marshall hits a diamond cutter. Marshall touches 3. Cody does the interception and whips him out for his efforts. And Cody basically demands to be hit, makes a comeback, and runs wild with some strikes. Cody cutter in the center of the ring. Arn calls for the end, and Cody hit 3. Cody low blows him, and then he hits 3 crossroads for his efforts, allowing Cody to get the win. Shawn Spears cuts a promo. He addresses Guevara, saying that Guevara's ego gets him in trouble last week. He interrupted by a chair thrown by Guevara, and Guevara says this is far from over. Then we go to a decent Kenny Omega and Hangman promo. Omega and Callis are introduced by Shivani. Callis takes the mic, tells Shivani get lost. He then gets the "You got fired" chant for being fired from Impact. Callis moves down the list of AEW challengers Omega has beaten. The fans are in the shadow of a god of pro wrestling. And then the fans are chanting "We want Hangman," and then Dark Order's music played. Evil Uno leads Dark Order out and says, here's a few questions for Omega, and wants to know why they're ignoring the crowd and why Omega is afraid of his friend. And Omega asks Uno if it's the capital of Thailand, and low blows him, and he says it's Bangkok. And then Good Brothers and Michael Nakazawa come out. They attack the Dark Order. Page's music plays, and he runs out fighting off Good Brothers. Omega's alone in the ring, and Page is in position for the buckshot, and they face off. Carl Anderson distraction allows Omega to escape to the ramp. Darby Allin and Ethan Page interview segment here. Jim Ross is uncomfortable because both of these men have talked about ending the other's career. Page didn't see anything wrong with it. Allin said Page is angry about how much Allin accomplished in such a short time. Page says he's complacent, big fish in a little pond, and Allin made it to AEW before Page, and that angered him. Page said he plucked Allin from obscurity. He brought Allin up in professional wrestling. Next week in the coffin match, he's going to take Allin out, and JR closes, saying he doesn't have a good feeling about the situation. Then we go to the Pinnacle. Harwood and Wheeler and Wardlow with Tully Blanchard defeating the Inner Circle, Santana and Ortiz, and Hager with Konnan. Santana and Harwood basically go at each other at the opening bell. Santana goes for the Three Amigos, opting for a German suplex in the third. Ortiz tags in, hits the double team, and then a Northern Light suplex, follows by near fall. Wheeler catches Ortiz and leapfrogs power slam before tagging Wardlow in for gut wrench, powerbomb for near fall. Hayward tags in, but Ortiz catches him with a powerbomb. Tags in Hager. Hager hits the Hager bomb, sets up, sends the Pinnacle packing for a while. Pinnacle regains control. Harwood flapjack Santana into the top rope during the commercial. Cutter allows Santana to reach Ortiz for the hot tag. The Inner Circle works together and takes out Wheeler, but Wardlow runs in, breaks up the pin attempt. FTR double team sequence on Ortiz, gets a near fall. Ortiz counters with a vertical suplex of his own and tags in Hager, who goes nuts on everyone. Wheeler counters, Hager bomb, Hager locks in the ankle lock. Harwood breaks it up, but they runs into a big boot. Hager called out Wardlow, who tagged in. They trade punches in the center of the ring. Hager escapes the suplex and then goes for the ankle lock. FTR enters ring and hits the big rig for the out-of-nowhere win. Konnan attacks Wardlow after the match. Tully chop blocked him from behind. Carl Anderson cuts a promo. He said Jon Moxley has a big problem with the Good Brothers. He challenged Moxley to a IWGP U.S. title match at next week's live event. Anyway, some fan runs in the ring during Jericho's entrance. MJF dares anyone in the crowd to try that. He says he's here groveling for one more match, saying it's sad but understandable because everyone wants to be king of AEW. Jericho said he should have let the fan come into the ring and beat MJF up. Jericho said he'd accept any stipulation that MJF puts in front of him, including, having an intimate relationship with MJF's mother. Again, this is kind of funny. Jericho wouldn't be rattled because that's what people want and doesn't care what they want. He used to look up to Jericho, followed every step of his career, including the Jon Moxley run. Jericho made Moxley wrestle every person in the Inner Circle, and MJF's going to take a blueprint and make that better. MJF loves Greek mythology, apparently. His favorite story is the Labors of Hercules. Jericho is going to have 5 labors. First 4 will be opponents of MJF's choosing, with the unique stipulation is that Jericho will have to win them all back to back to back. And then the 5th is when MJF beats Jericho for the 3rd time. And then MJF says he's better and he knows it. I don't necessarily like this. It's predictable, but it is what it is. Jericho accepts because he's the god of battle, god of thunder, god of war in AEW. He's going to beat MJF and ruin his life. This ain't mythology. And MJF stops Jericho from leaving. Says the deal's not done until both parties shake hands. He demands that Jericho shake his hand. And then hits a Judas effect. Britt Baker is with Rebel backstage. She said the only positive that came out of last week's match was that it's another win for Baker, but an innocent person in Rebel got hurt. Talked about ratings in the match. Only happened so Vicky Guerrero could bring Andrade to AEW. Baker tells Tony Khan to enjoy his blood money, saying maybe next AEW could run a show in Saudi Arabia. Ouch. Anyway, Nyla Rose is never going to get her title back. Baker's just not sending Rose to the back of the line. She's sending her back to obscurity. Then we go into Andrade with Vicky Guerrero defeating Matt Sydal. Andrade wrestles in dress pants. Sydal tries to roll him up, but gets nailed with a twisting suplex for his trouble and fights off the top rope. Andrade sends Sydal to the mat. Andrade goes to the top rope moonsault, and Sydal rolls out of the way. Andrade springs up for another moonsault, and Sydal picks out Andrade's leg and hits a jumping headbutt. He climbs the top rope where Andrade pushes him off ahead of the break, and Seidel avoids the corner knee, turning into a spinning heel kick. He lays in a bunch more kicks and then rolls Andrade up for near fall. Andrade nails a lariat and then goes to the top rope. Seidel met him on the top. Andrade picks up the legs and then goes for the diving stomp. Seidel avoids it and hits a Meteora for a near fall. Andrade comes back with running knees in the corner and hits a hammerlock DDT, which is his finish. He gets the win. Then dueling Christian Matt Hardy video promo played. Christian's always gotten the better of Hardy through the years, and Hardy's upset because Christian betrayed his trust at Double or Nothing. Christian tells Hardy to get on his level or get out of the way, and they'd have a match at Fyter Fest Night 1. Malachi Black, formerly Aleister Black, Tommy End, debuts. Simple debut. Anderson is with Shivani in the ring. Says it's great to be in Miami. He's interrupted by another blackout, like the one in the match with Cody earlier. Lights come back on. Aleister Black is in the ring. He hits the Black Mass. Spinning heel kick on Arn. Cody runs out and tries to save him. Excalibur announced Malachi Black as he leaves Cody and Arn laying in the segment. I mean, I hope they do something with Black. Hopefully it's something that actually has a long-term story plan to it. Anyway, Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander defeat the Blade and the Bunny. Intergender match. I'm not a fan of these. Men must wrestle men. Women wrestle women. People are chanting for Cassidy. He's still over after all the time away. Orange does the stuff with the Bunny. And then Blade counters Orange. Tornado DDT with a power slam. Orange counters, following up with a stunner before the women tag in. Bunny hits a knee. Statlander comes back with a power slam. Statlander hits a vertical suplex. Bunny rolls out of the way. Senton. Blade grabs Statlander's boot, allowing Bunny to take control ahead of the break. And once back, Statlander hits a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. She climbs the top rope. Blade distracts Statlander by attacking Orange Cassidy, allowing Bunny to hit German suplex, and Blade tags in, hoping for a countout on Orange Cassidy. Statlander gets Blade back in, and Orange makes his way back in, hits a crossbody and a tornado DDT for the two. Statlander hits Area 541 on Blade. Bunny pulls out Orange, and Blade produces brass knuckles and nails Orange with a right hand. Statlander makes a tag and pushes Bunny into Blade and hits the Jungle Boy gets a trophy for being the first person to win 50 victories in AEW history. Shivani's at ringside with Dan Lambert, who's there with the UFC fighters. He moves into the ring and starts cutting a promo about being skeptical about AEW because AEW, well, sucks. He starts talking about old school wrestlers and how they're so much better. He talks about what Tony Khan did to put over the company, saying AEW has tons of styles and varying levels of experience, legends, up-and-comers, and Lance Archer comes out with Jake Roberts and hits the blackout. Then next week, Dynamite lineup, Darby Allin and Ethan Page coffin match, FTW Championship, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, Christian Cage and Matt Hardy, Yuki Suzuki, Penelope Ford, and John Moxley, Carl Anderson. And then we go to the main event, which is obviously the street fight with the Bucks, and with Brandon Cutler defeating Eddie Kingston and Penta. Kingston's wearing a Terry Funk shirt. Sympathy to Terry Funk going through memory loss, Alzheimer's, and other things. Bucks super kick Michael Nakazawa early on and try to help him. Kingston and Penta get sent into the barricade for their trouble. They corner Cutler into the ring. Bucks attack with chairs before they could do anything. Kingston and Penta turns the table and drop both Bucks onto the chair. Penta hits a diving dropkick on Matt's backside, and They bring out tables. Penta tries to send Nick into the table, but stops him. Nick stops Kingston from superplexing his brother onto the table and power bombed Kingston onto it himself, running Destroyer on Matt through a table at ringside on the floor. Just goofy spots for the sake of spots. I mean, I love Eddie Kingston. Penta's not my style, but I get it. It's a lucha gimmick. But the Bucks just, there's no reason for these middle-aged wannabe influencers to be on the main event of a show. I don't know. Just no. Anyway, Nick soccer kicks a trash can into Penta's face. They go to the break. Kingston sent through a table. Once back, Nick hits a senton through a trash can onto Kingston for a near fall. Penta hits a thrust kick, sling blades on both the Bucks, and a lung blower senton combination. Bucks are overwhelmed. Penta hits some Northern Light suplexes, and then a cannonball enziguri combination on Kingston. And Bucks set up for the more bang for your buck. Opponents break it up, and then there's a half and half suplex into DDT. Kingston locks on a sleeper. Nick hits a 450 splash, and Matt taps out frantically. Good Brothers come in and tee off on Kingston. Penta takes them both out, and there's Tope. Penta hits the Fear Factor. Matt flips out and spears Kingston. Matt tries to get the cutter, get Cutler to spray Penta, but Kazarian appears, powerbombs Cutler through a table. Lots of table use that doesn't necessarily make sense. Penta and Kingston hit a Fear Factor followed by a spinning back fist. They get a visual pin. Official finally runs out. Nick pulls him out of the ring. And then Kazarian attacks the Bucks, but the Good Brothers take him out with a magic killer. Kingston produces thumbtacks. Penta smashes Matt with a trash can. Penta and Nick fight on the top rope. Nick hits a avalanche rana on Penta, who lands on the tacks. Kingston breaks up the corner for the near fall, and Matt gets a bloody nose. Kingston gets hit with a bunch of super kicks by the Bucks, throws tacks in Penta's face. Matt puts tacks in Kingston's mouth, and Kingston gets another super kick, and the Bucks cover to retain. For those that like the Bucks, this is probably enjoyable. For those of us that think the Bucks are the bane of existence of AEW, this was unnecessary. We'll be back with more right after this.